Hey, everybody. Let's see if everybody's coming in. Okay, people are coming in. Yeah, Lynn has to get a new permission, I think. Go ahead and take this back. All right. You're going to go to the post office? Okay.
There you go.
Yay, there you are. Yay.
There
Yay.
you go. Yeah. All right. Good.
Okay, awesome.
Electronics.
Yeah. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, good. And is it pretty clear? Is it good?
It's still the garbled double type stuff, but let's just go with it.
No, but that might not be good unless okay, now Freddie says the sound is good for both of us. Carrie says she can hear us both. So Carrie, am I clear? I'm not garbled?
You're a little bit garbled. Yeah, a little
Cindy
bit,
says
not much.
Cindy says I'm a little bit garbled. I'm afraid to take these off though, because the last time I took them off, then
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you at all.
You're understandable. It's not that garbled.
Okay, Colleen says I can hear, no garble for me. Katie
Oh,
says
good.
sounds good. Hi from the UK, Sandy. Okay, for Kristen said the sound is garbled. Joan says it's a little garbled. I'm wondering why it's garbled. I'm not sure. It was clear as the bell when we started.
Sounds like you've got two microphones going.
That's very odd. I wonder why. I'm not sure why that is, because I don't have two microphones going, but just the way that slightly verby. Oh, hola from Chile. Okay, good. Well, it shows that we're okay. So I guess I won't worry about it.
Yeah.
as long as people hear me okay. Right. It says the selected device has no output controls. Is that any better? Does that sound any better? Nope.
No.
All right.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Can you hear me at all now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, input. Maybe if I turn this one down, is that any better? Turning that one down a little bit?
Didn't seem to make a difference.
Doesn't seem to make a difference. Okay. I'm not sure.
Just sounds a
That
little
doesn't make any
raspy
difference
is all.
either. Oh, wait. Say that again.
It just sounds a little raspy at all, you know.
Okay. Okay, great. Everybody's coming in. Patsy said it sounds fine. Hi, Patsy. I tried lowering the volume. I tried increasing it, lowering it. Nothing seems to affect anything. I'm sorry if it doesn't sound good. We're not sure why. I'm here. We've got fiber internet. Let me make sure we're on the fiber internet. Let's see. Yeah, we are.
When Laurie is frozen, she is Elsa. She's disappeared from my screen. I think she's just trying to get everything hooked up right. Feeling better. Thank you. And just question. Yes, the fires are much to the north of us. We're doing fine. I got COVID. What's new with me? I got COVID at the IRBA conference, as many people did. And the first day, I didn't know whether I should report to the emergency room or to the funeral home. I was thinking the funeral home, but by the next day, everything was much better. I think the COVID virus germs realized, they said, oh no, we've infected a Texan. Let's get out of this neighborhood, And so I've been doing a whole lot better. Oh, good. I'm glad you're liking the targets. It's coming pretty fast here. Yeah, several people at the conference got the COVID. It just seemed to pass around. It was in Northern California, and I'm sure the subconscious is making the. How can we ensure the subconscious making the ideogram? If you don't plan to make it and it makes it, your subconscious made it. Yeah. COVID sucks. Yeah. Yeah. This is my first exposure to COVID and hasn't been pleasant. Every target experience story with us. Many CRB target experiences. Remote viewing it altered. Oh, that one went by too fast. No, in fact, the altered states of consciousness in CRV, you really don't get that much of an altered state of consciousness until you really get into the target. And but in the beginning, you're following the protocols, and the protocols take care of themselves. How intricate are your ideograms? Not very. The thing is, you can have like one ideogram, like a straight line, and the straight line can have 50 different feelings to it. And it's sort of a, Ingo says, you go over to the right side and you say A, the motion and the feel. Because the ideogram is not the gestalt. The ideogram plus the feeling, that's what your subconscious tells you is the gestalt. So a straight line that's hard, one thing, a straight line that's soft is something else, straight line that's slick is something else, straight line that's draggy is something else, a different gestalt altogether. And so it's the combination. That's why Ingo has A, shape and feel, B, that's my gestalt. Question, making ideograms if you're left-handed? Yeah, no problem. Your subconscious making them. It's both-handed anyway. It's your subconscious you'll find is ambidextrous. Larry says she lost internet. Okay, she's rebooting the router now. Good. Still a COVID virgin. Stay that way. Okay. Aside from practice, is there any other method or techniques to open up your RV capabilities even more? Yeah. I always say, learn CRV because I know CRV works better than everything else. But if you learn another method, I tend to say stick with what you learn because that will reinforce what you learn. And, get good at it. And then once you've established that working with your own subconscious mind, then you may want to come over to CRV and learn new techniques. But the main thing is establish that connection with your subconscious mind. And then the way to establish that connection is practice. Okay. Reconnecting. I can hear. Oh, okay. I think I can hear you. Okay. Can a CRV or RV get infiltrated by a psychic to give civilian the clues of a person or persons involved to be hunted down? And most RV methods can be infiltrated, if you want to call it that, can be detected. If you do CRV correctly, you cannot be detected. Okay. Can you discuss what info is helpful in doing locations? Yeah. Describe. Do not try to identify. And this is one of the standard rules of CRV. Describe, don't identify, because the minute you say it's a farm, man, your mind is locked into it. You describe what you see, and that's it. Can you explain your method of using time loops to make better decisions? Yeah. The time loop method for making better decisions is you sit down after you get feedback and you start a session and you make your target the moment of decision. And then if you have learned how to make the thing a two-way street, you can start putting hindsight into the moment of decision. The trick is that as you do this and make this a habit of everything you do, you have to learn at the moment of decision to listen to the future. And if you set up that time loop of in the future giving the hindsight and in the present receiving the hindsight from the future, hey, decision making is very easy. The trick is learning to make the remote viewing a two-way street instead of a one-way street. I'm sorry to hear that. Mary, yeah, she's not back yet. I'm hoping that she'll be back. Did you use any RV or RI technique or health application to treat COVID? No, I didn't. No, I just suffered through that first day and that was it. What's coming in the near future? prepare. When doing the ideogram practice, many of my ideograms look very much the same. Am I doing something wrong? No. They may look the same, but remember that your subconscious has only so many patterns it can make, but it also knows how to put feeling into those patterns. And at first we tell you, how does the paper feel? Excuse me. And as you do more and more ideograms, you'll realize that it's not only the paper that has the feeling. You may do an ideogram and you'll get an ambiance, or you'll get a mood or an emotion or something like that, and that becomes a part of the feeling component. When you do that, a straight line can have hundreds of different feelings, and those hundreds of different feelings can all be hundreds of different gestalts, not always related, but hundreds of different gestalts. And so your ideogram vocabulary, if you want to call it that, can expand just exponentially. Plans. Oh, my plans for the ranch are hopefully to get some. We have a GoFundMe thing started, and the way to access that is through remoteviewranch.com. And right now, I got back from Irva, and I was planning on getting the word out about the ranch, and I got sick, so I haven't done anything. So right now, there's almost no funding started. But the thing is, on the ranch, it will be. Lori's coming back. On the ranch, if we get it the way I really want it, it's going to take several years. I'm 83 right now, and so the thing is, the ranch is going to be for not just for me and my training, but for Lori, for other trainers. It's centrally located in the U.S., and one of the big complaints is people have their training out on the West Coast. Everybody on the East Coast says, no, it's too far. Same with the other. And having it centrally located and available to all trainers. The thing is, I'm not building this ranch for me. I'm getting old, and I'm building it for the community. And so I'm really hoping that we can get the funding to get this ranch going and get it up to where it should be. It's a beautiful place. It's isolated, quiet. If you've ever been down in Carlsbad Caverns and they turn the lights off and you see how absolute darkness is and how total quietness is, you go out to the ranch on a moonless night and you look up and the Milky Way is just bright as can be. It's beautiful. The stars are bright, totally quiet. It's an amazing place. It's a great place. We're going to have UFO watches and comet watches, and the Space Museum is already wanting to reserve spaces to have star parties out there. So, fantastic place. Anyway, welcome back. We have a guest now, Lori Williams.
I had to use my phone. Can you hear me at all?
Yes.
You can hear me? Okay. I'm not even putting on the things because I'm afraid that's going to mess things up.
And it's much clearer.
Okay, good. So we're on the using my phone as a hotspot. Jim is over here with his penknife trying to fix something. Something's wrong with the cord, the power cord that connects into the router. And so, but that's not what caused the problems. I think I probably bent that when I was trying to get it back in.
Yeah.
But it just, the router just isn't working for some reason. So that's why we live off grid, because you just can't trust the system.
I hate to tell you this, but even if you're living on the grid, you can't trust the system.
I know. Well, the thing is that every time I've had to stop and start something, it's never been at home where we have really lousy internet and we're in the airship. It's always been here where we have, electricity and fast internet and everything. That's where we've always had problems, and we've had to go home to the off-grid situation to be able to
Yeah.
use the electricity we generate ourselves. There's been a few times, Pavel can tell you, a few times when I've been teaching a 3-day class, and suddenly, like, the whole grid in New Mexico goes down.
Yeah.
And so Pavel keeps the class going while I run home and boot back up in the airship. So anyway, there's a lot of people are asking questions. Lynn, are you seeing these questions?
How can CRV used to be combat grief? My body keeps taking the hit. CRV can be used this way. It can be used to get in touch with much higher power. In fact, Russell Targ has made many presentations about the real reason to have CRV for him is spiritual, and that it is just a reinforcement. And he never used it for spying. He never used it. Well, he used it for research, of course, but for him, he has said that it allows him to get in touch with himself, with the collective consciousness, and with the higher power behind the collective consciousness. And yeah, it can be used that way. It's basically what you target when you get into a CRV session. What you target. I have been targeted with Jesus, with God, and life-changing experiences. Yeah.
I missed the question.
Uh, how
Guilt.
can how can it be used to combat grief?
Oh, grief.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I certainly have had to combat grief in the last few months, and I didn't use CRV for that though, at all. I've never thought about using CRV to combat grief. That's an interesting question though. But I found that it's that one of the things that really helped me in working with grief is the tapping solution app that you can put on your phone. It's really helpful, and you can use EFT tapping on some of the grief.
Oh,
Also have there's some really good hypnosis programs that you can put as apps on your phone and
yeah.
that have hypnosis for grief. That's also very helpful. But the main thing is you just have to be willing to feel the grief. That's the biggest thing, is to sit there with it and experience it.
Yeah.
Lynn,
Sometimes the grief is needed.
yeah, and there's no escaping it. You can't escape grief. I was reading somewhere that Americans don't know how to deal with grief. They're not very good at dealing with grief. And we kind of want to just, okay, I've been sad for a couple of days. Now it's time for me to get going again, and we don't give ourselves time to really, that was a big mistake that I made. You have to give yourself time to deal with the grief. That's for sure.
I know I'm way on up in the thing. I stopped it so that because it was going by so fast. So I'm way minutes behind and all. But I like this time when we can answer questions. We don't come with a planned lesson for you and all that, but I mean, we have the information if you ask the questions.
Oh, somebody's asking. can you still learn CRP if you suspect any neurological issues due to age? Nothing so severe, but something like memory loss or slower memory recall?
I forget what.
Well, if you look around, Carla, a lot of remote viewers are not young in the tooth. That's for sure. A lot of remote viewers are older and still remote viewing. So, and I have a lot of students. A lot of people among my students are older, and I've worked with a lot of students who are in their 70s or 80s. I even have a student that was close to 90. And they all did pretty well. They sometimes needed help remembering the structure, but overall they did really, really well. So I think you can definitely do this when you're older. I was just checking to make sure George is still here. We had to put Molly down last Thursday. So we brought George with us today out here to the office. We're trying not to leave him alone much because he's so sad without Molly. So we have George here with us. Yeah. Yes. Katie says, we older viewers are more patient. Lynn, were you ever concerned that the military might use your information for dubious purposes?
Concerned? No, I knew they did often. Yeah. It's your job. It's your military job.
Yeah.
Part of it. Yeah.
Gowrie says, how to qualify for intermediate. I am read some info and was not clear. To take intermediate, Gowrie, you have to successfully pass the basic course.
Yes.
So, yeah, nobody can go right into intermediate. You have to start with basic. That's very important. And you have to, one of the things that came up not too long ago was somebody was asking about prerequisites, for example, for the healing course, the MedApps course. And I was explaining that you have to have, the prerequisites aren't just that you have taken basic and intermediate, you have to pass them successfully.
Right.
And so, because people could buy the basic course and the intermediate course and not even, we had somebody recently who wrote us and said, I'm ready for intermediate and advanced. And then Mary went and looked at this person's account and they hadn't even begun the basic course. They never took it. They never took even one class. Hold on just a second. Jim wants to ask me something.
Yeah, and the thing is that we don't do that just to, rule the roost or something. We do that because if you don't master the basics, then once you get into the intermediate and especially the advanced, you're just not going to be able to do it. This is the human mind, and you have to learn the basics. If you don't, you really are wasting your time and your money by jumping ahead. This is the magician's apprentice thing. You don't jump ahead. You just don't.
That's so true. I can never emphasize strongly enough how the basic course provides that really solid foundation for everything else you learn in CRV. Everything. You might think someday you're going to be doing these extraordinary feats with remote viewing, and it's true. You will be if you really get that firm foundation. Without it, it's like a castle built on sand. It'll just fall off at the cliff into the ocean. You really have to have that really firm foundation if you want to be a good remote viewer.
I like to use the illustration of somebody makes straight D's through medical school and then comes out and says, okay, I'll operate on you now.
Catherine Garcia is asking about Club PRV. Catherine, Club PRV is set up so that people, when they're taking CRV, they can get some support, regular support, and have a way to meet other remote viewers and ask questions and get answers all the time really quickly. So Club PRV involves a forum that's non-Facebook based, because I found out that the majority of my students actually don't even have Facebook accounts. So we created a non-Facebook based forum, and that's private.
So people that are in the club can talk with people who are at their same level. So we have 5 different levels in the club. We have the basic, intermediate, advanced level. Then we have a group that's a healer group. And then we also have a kind of an operational group. And so with these different levels, when you're in the forum, for one thing, you can talk and ask questions that are at your level, the level that you've studied through. And there's other people who can answer those questions as well. And you can find partners for monitoring and viewing and things like that. Then we also have, in addition to that private forum, we have monthly get-togethers, and actually they're more than a month because we have a get together at noon for all the people that are on the other side of the ocean for whom it's like 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And then we also have a meeting again in the evening. It's from 6 to 8 for all the people on this side of the world who need to meet in the evening so that they're not meeting while they're at work. So we have 6 of those meetings every month, and we have them for the basic, the intermediate, and the advanced groups. Sometimes we have additional meetings for different reasons. For the spoon bending, you guys remember the spoon bending parties we had? We had some spoon bending parties, and we've also had some healing groups that have met. So anyway, so that's what the Club PRV is all about. It's you have mentors, and you can get answers to your questions and regular assignments. You get assigned. We assign a lot of assignments all month long, so people can get a lot of experience viewing. And then when we meet on camera, then you're having someone go over your session one on one, helping to correct any structural errors and teaching. So it's an additional 12 hours of teaching every month because it's each meeting. We have 6 meetings and they're all 2 hours long. So that's an additional 12 hours of instruction. So that's what Club PRV is about. Maury's asking, what is IRVA? Do you want to explain what IRVA is?
The International Remote Viewers Association was started right here in my home and has been going now for 21 years. And this last IRVA conference was for the 50th year since the start of controlled remote viewing back at Stanford Research Institute. And the conference is, by the way, if you are Lori's student or my student and you sign up, let them know at IRVA and you get a free 1-year membership. So don't forget that. So they have a publication called what's it called? Aperture, and they have targets once a month, I think, and they have all kinds of information, a library of papers that you can read, historic papers and all that. So it's a good organization to belong to. Yeah. You just cut out, Lori. Your microphone is gone. Can you hear me? Lori, you're muted. Not muted. Kat says she can hear you just fine. Yeah, go to irva.org and you can get information on IRVA. And like I say, if you're Lori's student or my student, you can get, you automatically get a free 1-year membership. Can RV help lip reading? I'm not sure. I think lip reading would have to be just regular lip read training. I don't know. Lori can say something. We can remote view what she's saying. Well, try your earbuds again. Try your earbuds again. See if they will hook up. The question has been asked a couple of times. What does it mean when a face is blurry in a session? It generally means you're getting good information. If a face is sharp and clear, that's your imagination. So, yeah, go for the blurry. Yeah. Kat says she's in Toronto and can hear Lori and Lynn perfectly. So I guess it says, what's Kat doing? I guess we need to all move to Toronto. Okay, what is dowsing? Dowsing is basically a situation where you try to get a physical feeling that will tell you, okay, you know how when somebody stands real close to you, you can kind of feel they're standing too close and all that. It would be nice if you could do that, like with a map, and you put your hand over a map and you say, you know, where am I getting too close to it? But you get that physical feeling. It's not always a tactile feeling. Sometimes it's an emotion, an ambiance, whatever. You can also, there are all kinds of different forms of dowsing. Pendulum, you can dowse with a pendulum, and if it goes right and left, that means correct. If it goes forward and back, means incorrect or something like that. You can also get at one corner of a map and say swing in the direction of the target of what I'm looking for. Then go over to the other corner and say now swing in the direction, and you can vector. And you can also say cut the map into 4. Is it in this sector? Yes. Is it in this sector? No. And so on. You can also use associative feeling, such as you have a map and you say the map is flat except for where the target is. There's going to be a bump. And you take a ruler, hold it very lightly in your hand and drag it across the map, and you get the impression of a bump. Draw a line. Draw it sideways across the map. Draw a line. You've just made a vector. X marks the spot. She's getting no sound whatever. I'm not sure what's wrong. She's been having all kinds of trouble.
Can anybody hear me now?
Ah, gotcha. Yes.
Okay, good. I had to reboot it, but all right. Well, that's good. At least I'm here now. Now the only problem we have is that I'm using my phone. I tried to switch it. Jim thought he got the thing working again, but the router, the internet's not working. We're going to have to call the repair folks. Meanwhile, we have my phone is the hotspot, and it's about to die. So Jim's running off to try to find a cord to plug it in. Anyway, Anyway, so yes, the yes, dowsing, we can do dowsing. I was going to answer something else though. There was a question um, that I started to answer, but then oh yeah, and Pavel put a link about the PRV clubs for people who are interested. And what I was going to say about the 6-week courses. Thank you, Carrie. You did a great job. Tanya was asking about the 6-week courses, and someone else asked about if you're taking the basic course, can you do it on your own time? So what I wanted to say was that Lynn and I both have video courses, and we made them for people that are busy, like you guys. And if you can't attend, for example, maybe the 3-day live class that I'm teaching, it's too hard for you to take off work for 3 solid days, or you have toddlers or something, and you can't. We have some people who are taking the course who have babies, and they just can't attend a 3-day course because their babies are rambunctious. So that's a great reason for taking a video course, and you can take it at your own pace. You can take as long as you need to get through it. You don't have to get it through it in 6 weeks. You can get through it in longer if you want to. And so you can take it at your own pace, and the courses are available forever, right? Or your courses are available forever, right, Lynn? Like when somebody buys a course, they can watch it forever, and forever legally means 4 years.
Well, as long as I'm alive, anyway.
Yeah, that's what the FTC says.
On to other people, but the thing is, you sign up for the course, and the course is designed. Mine is. I'm not sure Lori's is by lesson, but mine is by topic, like ideograms. Okay, and that way you learn it as you go, but then forever you have a reference that you have a question about. Hey, come back, look up the lesson that says the lessons that say ideograms, and there's your answers to them. So after there being a lesson, they become a reference. Oh no.
No, I'm sorry. I turned off. I muted myself because Jim's trying to help find a solution to the phone problem of the phone dying. He found a cord, but we need a fob. There's USB over there. Oh, okay. Are they over there? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Modern electronics, isn't it great?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if we all created our own reality. I'm not sure why we did this ourselves.
Yeah, Mary put Lori's a link to Lori's courses in the chat room there, and also Mary put a link to my courses. So take a look.
Mary, I was just going to share that the courses, there's an exam after each course. Lynn, yours has an exam as well, right? You told me that you have an exam on your courses.
No, I have been wanting to build in exams and actually computerize them so that they will come back not only with answers but also advice, so that they're interactive exams rather than pass-fail exams. So that's still down the line.
Yeah. The way our exams work is you take the exam in basic, you send it in, and then you receive that exam back, all scored with the teacher's red pen and commentary, and you get an email also commenting on it. And then also you're attending the meetings, hopefully, if you're in Club PRV, where you're getting feedback on your sessions all the time. And then the intermediate course has an exam, a true exam that's kind of, whereas the basic course, you're doing a session and we're examining your structure, your understanding of the basic structure. The intermediate course comes with an actual content exam. Like, do you really understand the concepts? And that gets graded and you get comments back on that. And then you have to do 4 sessions on 4 different types of targets. And that's all part of the exam as well. And then those get looked at and we work with you on those. So that's how the exams in our company work. And the courses are all.
You have help, though.
Yes, we do. We have a team. Yes. Yeah. No, For sure. That's why, I mean, every company runs differently. And so I'm just explaining for those who might not understand, because people are asking about our
Yeah,
exams. So I want them to understand how
that's
it
good.
works. And then somebody's writing in German for you there.
Ah, sehr gut. Nein, wir bin unter Remote Viewing, Remote Perception on LinkedIn. Okay. That is Kristen. Okay.
And let's see.
Kristen, wie können wir Sie finden? On LinkedIn. Wie können wir Ihnen finden? On LinkedIn. Target impacted you most in your career? Oh, I mean, when conversation is muted in session, certain parts. Yeah.
Can I address Arnaldo's question? Arnaldo.
Oh, there it was, Kristen.
Go ahead.
At sign Kristen. I'll look that up. I don't know. It went past. Anyway, ja, ich bin in der IB-Gruppe bei Facebook. Okay, yeah. They're good.
Kristen says she asked if I was in Lori's group.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Constance says, I'll be sending in my intermediate exam and lessons in the next couple of days, Lori. Yay, Constance, good for you. And thanks, Jim McFarland. I appreciate your help. It's great to see you here, Gil Trotman. Gil's asking, Lynn, which target impacted you the most in your career?
That's hard to say. There have been so many thousands of targets. In my career, I think the one that impacted me the most was the one where I found that, or I was told that my session determined whether or not they would bomb Gaddafi's home. And at the time, Gaddafi reported that his daughter was killed. But I've later heard that my session didn't have that much impact, and I've also later heard that his daughter was not killed. So I don't know. But that one, I was told that my session impacted made the decision whether or not they would bomb Gaddafi's home, and that his daughter was killed. And I have really had, moral quandary about that one. Anyway.
So someone was asking about viewer numbers. For people who take the 6-week course, we give you a formula for you to make up your own 3-digit viewer number. And for those who are taking live courses, we assign viewer numbers. Lynn, how are your students coming up with viewer numbers?
I assign viewer numbers. Yeah.
So Lynn assigns
until I get a viewer number, I say just use your initials.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm at the point where I'm going into 1,000, and of course, a viewer number traditionally has only 3 digits. So I'm going to start going like 00A, 00B, and so on. So I'm going to have to start using letter combinations as well.
Yeah,
the thing is the viewer number doesn't matter. It just it lets you have your own separate record in the database. That's
yes. Okay, Ian's asking, will CRV help with the uncertain future that's coming? I think, Ian, that CRV is a great tool for
Yeah.
being prepared for what's coming and what's ahead. I could use some examples, but the examples that are coming to me right now are things I probably wouldn't want to say publicly. but um, but I've definitely been forewarned from a lot of things and been able to avoid them from using CRV and being able to kind of anticipate things before they happen.
Yeah.
And that's a huge benefit.
And that's especially so if you set up that time loop where you get warning from the future. So, yeah.
Yes. Now we've talked about that in other of our Lynn and Lori things, and that gets into quite an extensive conversation. But and Aiden, the question that you're asking about predicting colors, we're going to be teaching an ARV course. I have a record. I have a not a recorded. I have a live ARV course coming up. Pavel, when is it? Pavel and Mary can put a link to Aiden. That's what you need though, is the ARV course to learn all. You'll learn all kinds of really cool things like that, like predicting the color on the ball of the roulette and that sort of thing. And I believe the course is coming up in September. I believe because we have MedApps in August and Beyond Advanced in August, and then we have ARV coming up in September. So that's just a few weeks away, Aiden, if you're interested. And I think maybe Mary can put that in there, or Pavel. Anyway, if you go to intuitivespecialist.com with an S at the end, you can see the calendar there and see when the 3-day courses are if you're interested in a 3-day ARV course. Lynn, also, you have a recorded ARV course, correct?
Yes, I do.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Okay. Most of the ARV courses that are out there have you actually betting on the lottery and betting on things. And most of the ARV courses that are out there are, I'm sorry, they're pure garbage. And they teach you to do it the way that works for that person who is teaching the course. What my ARV course does is it shows you all of the major ways to do ARV. ARV is not a set procedure. There are hundreds of ways to do ARV, all of which are effective, but only one or two of which are going to be effective for you. And so my course shows you the different methods, has you try each one and keep track of them, keep track of the results, see which one works best for you. And then once you find out what works best for you, then, hey, then start on the lottery or betting on games or whatever. But you'll find that most of the ARV courses out there, you join them and you go for years and you still even haven't won a pick 3 lottery. But you keep trying and you keep trying, you know. So I just took a different tack and said, here's all the ways, try each one, find out what works best for you, then start tackling the world.
Yeah, someone was asking about numbers. Usually numbers come from the left brain. And so we have techniques for obtaining accurate numbers in session. But without those, like for example, I had a viewer who was an advanced viewer student of mine, and he was viewing a target. He didn't know what the target was, but it involved a man-made object flying over a certain distance. And so he picked up on this man-made object, this airplane, and he said, I think it flew 300 miles. And I said, now, where did you get the number 300? Did you just make that up, or did you use one of the tools we taught you? Because he was an advanced viewer. And he said, I made it up. And I said, okay, try using one of the tools, and let's see what you come up with. And so instead of 300 miles, he came up with 30 miles, and that was actually exactly correct. But he had to use a P6 tool to come up with the accurate number. A lot of times when we pull numbers out of our head, you know, like, oh, you know, he would do the same thing, this guy with locations. He'd say, and I think the person's from Virginia. I'd be like, Now, did you douse to get that answer, or did you just pull that out of a dark place? You know, he'd be like, I pulled it out of a dark place. And then I'd
Yeah.
have him douse, you know, and it would turn out the person was from Italy or something, you know. So,
Yeah.
and so that's the thing is a lot of times names and numbers that, especially if you're at the basic level, you can't trust them. You might occasionally
Right.
get something right, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was a psychic hit. It can often be like a coincidence, but it's rare that people get numbers. If psychics could get numbers accurately all the time, we'd have a bunch of gazillionaire psychics winning the
Mm.
lottery all the time. That's why they don't win them, because numbers usually don't, they just come from the left brain.
Yeah. What is ARV is associative remote viewing. There are a lot of things that are hard to get, like numbers. And so there are other things that are easy to get, like somebody is good at tastes, okay? And so you say, okay, for the lottery tonight, they picked 3 lottery. If the first ball has a 0 on it, I'm going to taste some chili pepper. If it has a 1 on it, I'm going to taste some chocolate. If it has a 2 on it, I'm going to taste some milk or something like that. 4 is beer, whatever. Okay. So then, because you have found that you're good at tastes, other people will have different strengths, but you have found that your strength is taste. Then you sit down and do a session and you say, okay, at 10 o'clock tonight, what am I going to taste? Beer. Ah, okay. If a 4 comes up on the first ball, you get some beer, and at 10 o'clock, you taste it. If a 2 comes up, you get some chocolate and taste it. And you say, but I thought I was going to taste beer. Yeah, well, you were wrong. But once you get good at it, you can know that whatever is on the ball is going to associate with something you're going to do afterwards. So then you view what you're going to do afterwards, and you know what's going to be on the ball. It's that simple. You ARV, you associate easy to view things with hard to view things, and then you view the easy one.
That's
And
right.
by association, you know what the hard one is. Yeah.
Alan, I just would let you a note because I don't think we'll have time to answer that, but you can ask in the next club meeting. Bring that question to the next club meeting. You know, when you keep getting an unknown ideogram that keeps repeating and popping in, one of the ways to find out what your subconscious is trying to tell you with this new ideogram is to look at your feedback. See,
Yeah.
in all the sessions where you got that ideogram, what's the common denominator? What is showing up in all of those? What is the gestalt or the item that is showing up in all of those sessions where that mysterious unknown ideogram keeps popping up? That's a super helpful way when your subconscious mind is trying to communicate something new to you to find out what it is. You have to do a little bit of sleuthing and pulling out sessions that you have, but you can look at those and go, oh, look at, I got this ideogram in these 5 sessions, and in all 5 of them, there's a red car. I mean, I'm just making that up, but I'm just saying, you know, in all 5 of them, there's one thing. And so, and it's funny because I found that my subconscious mind will often give me a new ideogram or for something really randomly small. Not like I'm going to have that thing all the time and I need it, you know. And so it's kind of funny sometimes. So
And the thing is, on the new ideograms, don't try to apply logic, left brain logic to it. Like you may come up with an ideogram that is a jerk up and down, and you have no idea what that means. And you get it over and over and over, and you still don't know what it means. And so you look at all the sessions where you got that, and you realize that each one of them has music in it, let's say. Okay. The jerk up and down has no logical connection to music. And yet that's what your subconscious is saying. Oh, there's music, you know. And so don't try to apply logic to it. Just look at your unknown ideogram, go through the sessions and see what's common to them, like Lori says. Yeah.
That's a good way to find that out. Lynn, are you okay on time? We kind of had a slow start, so I didn't know if it's okay to go over a little bit.
Hey,
Or,
I'm isolated for 2 weeks. I've got plenty of time.
yeah, I'm so grateful for you to be here, especially when you're getting over COVID. You're indomitable.
I'm a Texan. Like I was saying, telling everybody earlier, the COVID germs, the COVID viruses, that after that first day, I can just picture them saying, "What were we thinking? We invaded a Texan. Let's get out of this neighborhood."
Funny. Yes. Let's see. Okay, so Arnaldo has asked several times about events. When Arnaldo, I'll try to answer your question, and if I'm not getting it right, you can restate it. But you've put several posts about changes in your environment, changes in your condition, things that have been happening to you since you started taking one of our courses. I don't know if it was on mine or Lynn's, but here's the thing: CRV can change your life. It definitely can. There's no doubt about it. And your senses can become much more acute, your psychic senses and your regular senses. Your sense of smell, your sense of taste, things like that become more acute. And that in itself can cause changes in your life. You can have new realizations and things like that. So, and now when people write me and say, "Oh, I don't have this happen very often," but I've had like one or two people over the 22 years that I've been doing this write and say, "Well, when I started studying CRV, suddenly X happened in my life, this whatever." That thing was probably destined to happen in your life regardless. I don't think that CRV, you know, they often seem completely unrelated, and I don't think that they usually are related. Um, and then, it depends. It depends on what kind of things we're talking about. When I started studying with Lynn, a lot of my psychicness that had always pretty much come to me via dreams at night when I was asleep suddenly started happening during the day because I had opened this door and I was able now to communicate with my subconscious. So it definitely caused that change in my life where it was like I was more psychic. But we don't claim that CRV makes you more psychic, but when you're practicing regularly, you're kind of moving all this stuff from the subconscious into the conscious to where you're more aware of it and you're able to utilize it more. So that can be another reason why things are happening. Changes in your environment, changes in your life after studying CRV.
Right.
You're welcome. Okay, and then Carrie's asking, what is your best method to get out of castle building? Um, I wanted to share one thing about castle building, if you don't mind, Lynn.
Go ahead.
One thing I've learned over the years, I used to think that castle building was the bane of my life. Castle building was just such a nightmare and so terrible. And oh, I wish I could stop castle building. And what I've come to realize is I think castle building is a part of every session for every viewer to some degree. There's no getting away from it. But what we're trying to avoid is accepting the castle, where
Right.
you're having this castle and you are 100% sure that your castle is real. I had a really sweet viewer that I dearly love, and he would say, the target is a policeman standing on a corner in a busy city. And, he would go into all these details that were all nouns. And of course, the target was never those things. But a lot of times I could help him see why he built this castle and where he got it, where all these things came to in his mind, because a lot of times castles are trying to paint a picture of the target that's not exactly accurate. Like one lady told me, I have a castle of a rocket ship blasting off a launch pad and crashing into an airplane overhead. And I said, okay, if you take away the nouns, and if you were just to tell me using gestalts, what would you say? She said, I have a man-made lifting up and hitting another man-made above it. And that was the target, but it was a submarine surfacing and hitting a boat. You know, that was her target. It was a submarine surfacing and hitting a boat, but she thought it was a rocket ship hitting an airplane. So when you take the nouns out of it, oftentimes your castles are a lot more accurate than you realize. And they're not the enemy, really. They're just a natural process of the mind that no one can avoid. But what we want to do is we want to always be aware that which I am perceiving as a rocket ship blasting off and hitting an airplane may not be a rocket ship blasting off and hitting an airplane, but I can extrapolate colors from it maybe, or some information from it. I can break it down. I can take a break so that maybe when I come back, that castle won't be hanging all over me again. There's a lot of ways to get away from castles
Yeah.
when they're bought.
And we teach monitors, CRV trained monitors. You say, I see a rocket ship. And the monitor will say, describe that which you are calling a rocket ship. And as you describe, oh, well, it's pointed in front and, and there's this rocket blast coming out the bottom and all this. And no, that's a noun. Set it aside. Now describe the color, describe the sounds, touch it. Temperature, shape, feel, tap on it, sound, and all this. And pretty soon, the person will give up those nouns and just start describing. And when they do, even though they're still saying it's a rocket ship, they'll describe the target.
I don't know if we have time, but some people are asking about the MedApps course.
Mm-hmm.
MedApps is a wonderful course. It's my favorite all-time course. It's to me the most mystical of all the courses, the most magical course of all. And one thing you'll find is that if you take MedApps, you'll have to take it periodically, because every time you take it, you learn as much as you learned the time before and on top of what you've learned, because it grows with you as you mature and as you learn more things and as you become more experienced as a remote viewer. The tenets of the class itself become deeper and more profound and more layered as you go. So that's something to know about MedApps. I love MedApps, and I don't know anybody, and I've never taught it where students haven't been amazed and super thankful that they took it. It can be applied in healing others. You asked, Constance, how it can be applied. You can use it as a diagnostic tool. It can be used as a healing tool. And what I love most about it is that it's really great for your own self-help and your own mental health. It's a really good course for yourself. The building analogy is something I've used a lot throughout the years. Lynn, what did you want to say about MedApps?
No, Mary said she had to run, and I was waving by.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so I hope that answered your question, Constance. And if you need to know more, you can always write. You know me, Constance. You can always write me. Yeah, prerequisite of the MedApps course is you have to successfully pass basic and intermediate.
Right.
So that's important. All right, I think we've kind of run out of time, guys, but any questions that you wrote down that didn't get answered, forgive us that we couldn't get to everybody. Be sure, and if you're one of my students, be sure and send me those questions, because I would love to do your PRV moments about them. I do these little recordings called Your PRV Moment, where we can talk about, I can answer these questions in little videos that go out to people on the forum. And if you're one of Lynn's students, you can always send them to Lynn. You can ask them that. You can ask in the Remote Viewing with Lori Williams Facebook group as well. If you're neither one of our students yet, if you're not a paying student, that's fine. You can post your questions in the Remote Viewing with Lori Williams Facebook group. Lynn's there too. He's a member of that group too. So we've got lots of people in there that are anxious to help you. So if you have a question, you can pop it in that group. That'll help too. We're getting close to 30,000 people in that group.
Man.
Yeah, getting big.
Please post about the ranch in the group.
That's a good, yes, we should, you can do that, Lynn. You can post about the ranch in the group.
Okay, I
And,
will. Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, you can definitely do that. Make sure everybody knows about it. It's fun. I mean, it's fun to know about it. And also people that want to contribute to making it happen and jump in. This is a good time. Thank you guys so much. I'm so glad you've all been here.
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time. Next month. What is it next month? We're doing it. When is our
Second Tuesday?
pardon me? Next it's a Tuesday. I think it's the first. Let me just look real quick to be sure. Our next Linen webinar is going to be, I believe it's
on the 13th.
On the 13th of September.
Oh, wait a minute.
13th. Yes, you're right. Tuesday the 13th. That is correct.
Tuesday the 13th. Yeah.
Tuesday.
So Friday the 13th comes on a Tuesday next month. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, you know, it's Tuesday the 13th in South America is the scary day. It's not Friday.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Martes 13. That's Tuesday the 13th. So yes, so September 13th is our next one.
Good deal.
See you guys. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.